Hello and welcome to Rediscovering Childhood, a podcast that brings you lots of practical information to help you become a more conscious parent. This podcast is brought to you by Discovery Playtime, an Irish business that provides high-quality educational and sensory toys to help your children develop skills through play. Visit discoveryplaytime.ie or download the app to get inspired. Welcome to our very first episode of Rediscovering Childhood. We're here with Shannon McGivrigan and we are so excited to be able to have this space to share all the information that we've learned, and we will learn more as well along the way. So just to give you a little bit of background about ourselves, my name is Mireia and I am the owner of Discovery Playtime. In case you're wondering about my name, it's a Catalan name. It's the Catalan version for Maria. So you're all very welcome to call me Mia. And I'm the founder of Discovery Playtime. It's an Irish online shop that provides lots of educational toys for children. I am passionate about play. I have two children, they're 6 and 8, and they've inspired me to start my business. I have a degree in primary school teaching and a master's in educational psychology. And 2 years ago, I got my certificate in therapeutical play skills, and it really showed me how to communicate with children through play. So on to you, Shannon. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a dream of mine to always be on a podcast. So to be on Rediscovering Childhood, it's incredible. And a little bit about myself. My name is Shannon. I'm from Kildare, plain and simple. I have a degree in early childhood education and care. I did that down in Carlow, and I also did my level 5 up in the Liberties as well. And since then, I have been working in creches, preschools. I also went over to London to do substitute primary teaching over there, which was amazing. It was completely eye-opening to see a different educational system and how they bring in early childhood as well into their schools as well. It was incredible. Then after returning home, I've been working for 4 years in preschools, and I decided to take a bit of a career break at the end of last year. And the start of this year, I ended up joining the Discovery Playtime team as the events coordinator, and I've been there for nearly 5 months now. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And we'll be hearing more about your experience in London as well and in Kildare as the episode goes on.
So, Mireia, I would love to know a bit more about you, if that is possible.
That is possible.
Amazing. So, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and how did it affect your choices in your life as an adult?
My childhood was very happy. I had a very happy childhood. I was born in Spain. I was born in the north of Spain. My parents are both from Barcelona, and they were going somewhere the day I was born. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there. But I was born in a town that had more sheep than humans, which is very interesting. Mm-hmm. And it had like 300 people in that town. So I grew up there. I lived there for 3 years. But I just remember freedom, just being outside all day and playing all day and playing like pretend play. I had lots of imaginary friends and real friends as well, by the way. And yeah, my favorite toy was a catalogue. Well, catalogues were my favorite toy. I was just going through catalogues and pretend play and selling things, and yeah, that was my passion. And and so lots of outdoor play. And then I moved to Barcelona when I was 3. And it was just lots of experience. So I suppose like I moved houses a few times, so that gave me the confidence to it's okay to start life again. And,
yes, I'm sure that was really hard as a child as well, that you were constantly moving pretty every time you felt like you were making a friend, then you had to go again. Yeah,
but children adapt better than adults and better than we think. So, when we do things, because we as parents, we always try to do the best for our children, and whatever we do, it's harder for us than it is for them. They'll just adapt, and that says home is where my family is. So wherever you go, if they have that love from you, it doesn't matter where you are.
That's incredible. So, and do you feel like any of the choices made as a child affected your adult life?
Yeah, well, I think that love for play and passion for play, I've experienced what I try to show other parents and teachers and, you know, other people, I've experienced it. It's not like I'm telling them you should play. I've actually had that experience. And because I see the lack of play now, and I see the possibilities that I've had and my children have, I really want everyone to be able to experience that and share that with their children as well.
Yes, yes. And do you feel like that impacted your decision to become a primary teacher?
Yeah, definitely. I always knew I wanted to be a primary school teacher, always. And I used to pretend play and put all the teddies in the room. And it's funny because my daughter does the exact same thing now. He always has all the teddies there, and I'm like, I need to hover the floor, and it's covered in teddies. So yeah, I always knew. And then I was 6 years old when my brother was born, and then he became one more teddy, and he had to sit there. He didn't have a choice. He had to listen to me explaining things and teaching things. And I always knew I wanted to be a primary school teacher. But I also played shops a lot. Now that I remember using these catalogs of like selling houses or selling the back to school catalogs and things, and I always set up, I would set up a shop on the kitchen table, and every time family would come to the house, I would try to sell them stuff. Funny enough, I do have a shop now, and I never intended to have one. So, you know, just it really brings you, when you look back, you realize all the things that happened in the past are actually kind of reflecting on what you do now.
Yes, I also love that you had so much sales experience when you were 3 and 4, and it really has impacted you now.
Well, I was a bit older as well, but yeah.
And where did you study primary teaching?
I studied in a college in Barcelona, and it was an amazing experience because our college was quite advanced compared to other colleges in Spain, and we were taught how to teach without books, just using real life newspapers, real experiences, and to extract the contents from those experiences to use it to teach children and learn from life for life. So that was very interesting, and it's obviously empowered me to do what I do now, and to see beyond the learning experience and the teaching, you know, to see the real power of learning through play. So I studied there for 3 years, and then I got a job in a primary school, and it was covering a maternity leave. So that wasn't easy because it was my first experience after college. I wasn't confident in all. I had no resources. You know, I had your theory that you study in college, and then you're put into a classroom with 30 children, and then you're like, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the support from any of the other teachers in the school. It was very hard. Like, other teachers would actually bully me in front of the kids, and like they were all like, I was teaching music from 1st to 6th class as well, and I remember like the kids, the 5th, 6th class were taller than me.
Yes.
And you know, like it was very scary. So it was very hard, and I was there from January to June, and then I started my master's. So it was 2 years master's. I did the first year in Spain, and then I came to Ireland in 2011, and I finished the second year online from Ireland.
Okay. And I also think that's really interesting. I feel like nobody actually talks about the transition from college into the classroom as well, and how daunting it is and how hard it is to go from learning all this information to be able to try and extract that and teach somebody else as well.
Yeah, it's like we're too focused on the contents and the theory, and then the practical life and the everyday struggles are kind of hidden, like it's not going to happen.
Yes.
And you know, if you don't know how to deal with that, there's no way you can get your contents through, or you can't teach anything. And that's why I think they're bringing the well-being now as well. And you know, it's all that more relevant, because if you don't have that, nothing else is going to get through.
Absolutely. And did you find a big difference between the educational system in Barcelona and then the educational system in Ireland when you come over?
I think it's quite similar. You know, we do have, there's a new primary school curriculum framework coming into Ireland hopefully this year, and that's a very similar curriculum to the one that I studied with 11 years ago.
Okay.
So that is very interesting. But it was a matter of time. It just takes time to come up with something like that. Now, I had a very bad experience in the school where I was teaching, so I can't really generalize, because it was a very traditional school. And I remember I was in the yard once, and I did an obstacle course where kids had to pick up some words in different areas of the yard and then put them together and build sentences and stop each other. So it was all learning through play, through movement.
Yeah.
And the principal came to me and said, we're in the school to learn, not to play.
Oh, no.
And he asked me to go back to the classroom, and I said, yeah, I'll go back when we're finished. And I said, that's crazy. And that's definitely not the only school that's not allowing children to reach their full potential, because they have to sit down and do exams and tests. And, it's the same for everybody. It doesn't matter what their needs are, what their skills are. It's all about learning from each other. If you're good at running and I'm good at putting sentences together, I can learn from you and you can learn from me.
Yeah.
And by all sitting down and doing the exact same thing, it's really limiting that potential.
Yeah.
So I think that also stuck in my head, and I always say, like, there's no point in complaining if you're not doing anything about it.
Yes.
So that's why I put a training together for teachers now to hopefully help. I know it's not that bad, because that was an extreme.
Yes.
But if it helps a little bit, I'll be happy.
Yeah. And I suppose what you're saying there is kind of giving yourself the confidence as well to back your ideas and trust that you do know how to teach as well. Because I can only imagine how deflating that was, that's being said probably in front of the kids as well.
Yeah, it was. And also it's onto that confidence, because you haven't done it before. So you're like, well, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yes.
So it's really that, again, back to that confidence, saying, no, I believe in what I'm doing and I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, and trust your training.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned earlier you were the owner of Discovery Playtime. So can you tell us a bit about that, and how did that come about? How did that start?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, because I came to Ireland in 2011, and I actually flew to Cork, and I was on holidays. I came to Ireland on holidays, and that was the longest holiday ever. So I was in Cork for 2 weeks, and then I realised that I couldn't speak any English.
Okay.
And then I decided to go to the language school to learn some English, but I was there for 2 weeks, and then the following weeks everything was booked out. So I booked in the last 2 weeks, so last week of July, first week of August. And then that week in the middle, I decided to travel a little bit, and I went to Dublin. And then when I was in Dublin, I decided that I didn't want to go back to Cork, and I want to stay there. And then, so I stayed there, and then I got a grant. A few weeks later, I got a grant for primary school teachers in Spain to study English abroad for 6 weeks.
Incredible.
So then I had to stay here. Well, I made the choice to stay here for 6 weeks and use that grant and go to a language school and learn English. And then, what happened then? And then, after those 6 weeks, that brought me to the end of the summer, the end of August. I had stayed in a hostel the whole summer, the whole month. And then that was there in Dublin city centre. And then at the end of the summer, I just decided to stay for a bit longer, and because you can't learn a language in 6 weeks.
No.
And because,
especially in Irish English. Not
and then I decided to stay here and learn a bit more, because if I went back to Spain at the end of the summer, I wouldn't get a job as a teacher, because all the teachers were already chosen or hired for the new school year. So I decided to stay, and what I did was I stayed in the hostel where I had stayed the previous month, and I got free accommodation I was a housekeeper there. I got a job as a housekeeper as an exchange for free accommodation. So then that brought me to November, and I was just fed up, and people would come, because they're all coming on holidays, they're staying there. So it was great during the summer, but then I just got fed up with people coming and leaving and coming and leaving. So I left as well. And then I went home, and I was just miserable. I had such freedom here to do whatever I wanted. And then going back home, I just didn't like it, and I couldn't get a job anywhere, and I can't sit still. I have to do things all the time. So then I came back in January, back to the hostel, again, housekeeping. And then I also got a job as a waitress. And then I also got a job as a tour guide. So I was doing tours, the free tour around Dublin in Spanish for Spanish people. And then I was also doing pub crawls, guiding pub crawls. And I was also guiding tours to the cliffs of Moher in Galway, in Clare, sorry. So I was very busy. I remember going to sleep because I was cycling everywhere. So I remember going to sleep with my uniform for the morning because I had to get up at 5:30.
Oh my
Go
goodness.
to bring people to the bus stop, and then to go back to the other job. And then I was teaching Spanish as an after school as well. It was just really crazy. And then I got fed up again. And I left again.
Too much happening all at the one time.
Too much. And I was just a bit lost, wasn't sure. And then I left to Spain. And then when I was in Spain in May, I got a call from one of the receptionists in the hostel. His wife was the staff manager in Imaginosti in Dublin Children's Museum. It's in Sandyford. And they were looking for staff for the summer. And he knew how hard I work because I always said, whatever you do, do it right.
Yes.
You know, if you have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well, like if I'm hovering the floor, I'll do it. I'll do my best. And if I'm doing a podcast, I'll do my best. And I don't know what you're thinking right now, but I'm trying my best. So I said, yeah, no problem. I have my suitcase packed anyway. So I came back a month later, and I was here. I was actually working there for 6 years after. I tried to leave a few times, but I didn't make it all the way. So I moved out 10 times in 10 years.
Wow.
And now I'm not moving. I don't want to move again. So it was when I had my second child that I realized that with my first child I knew, and then the second child there's less than 2 years between them, and I knew I wanted to be with them and I wanted to stay at home, but I also wanted to work and do something that I enjoyed myself for my own mental health.
Yes.
And then obviously the income, we all need an extra income. So that's when my boy was 8 months, I started, because I was doing a lot of activities at home with them. I was doing lots of messy play and Play-Doh and a lot of things. Obviously with the first child I did a lot more than with the second child.
Yes,
I think
there's a lot more time there.
Yeah. But then I thought, because they're missing out on the social aspect. They're not seeing anybody. And then I would bring them to playgroups and places, but it was missing. It wasn't great, the quality of those playgroups, the education behind it. It was just a safe space just to hang out, but it wasn't, that extra. So I decided to just create my own. Again, can't complain about something if you don't do anything about it.
Yes.
So I hired a venue in Naas and I opened bookings for other families to come in. And then I started doing, again, I didn't know how to do it because there was nothing like that then. So, just try, just put a cover on the floor and see what happens. And it's amazing because some of those kids that were coming now, they're in my children's classrooms and they're 8 now. So it's brilliant. And so, I started doing workshops there and then in play centers, and I started getting busier and busier. And then I had up to 10 workshops a week just before COVID.
Wow.
And some of the resources that I was using at the workshops were very hard to find, and I had done a lot of research to find the right toys, exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
So then I decided to start selling them online to make it easier for parents to find them, and they could see how to use them at the workshops.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not just about that hour at the workshop, it's also how to inspire parents to then do things at home and give them ideas. So I had a few items available online as well, and then with COVID it just took off the shop because I couldn't do workshops, so I had the time to grow the shop and add more products, and also because schools were closed.
Yes.
So I was really pushing, sending emails and doing lots of activities on Instagram and social media. I used that platform to share with families what to do at home with their children, that they would still be learning something while playing and having fun and having a nice family activity and have family time.
Amazing. And what would you say is the difference between when you first started Discovery Playtime and now what Discovery Playtime has become? Discovery Playtime is 6 years old. Okay.
For the first 6 years, I had no idea what I was doing. I never intended to have my own business or anything. I liked the idea and I thought that'd be nice, but it just one thing brought me to the next thing and the next thing and the next things. But now I do know what I'm doing, and I know where I want to go, and I know what's needed out there, and I'm very flexible to adapt to whatever is needed without COVID or whatever happens out there.
Yeah.
I want to provide my mission is really to provide that space where parents and teachers get inspired and provide more and better experiences for their children so they can develop skills that will affect their life now and in the future. And that's why we have the shop with lots of resources available. We've tried everything that we have available in the shop that we sell. So we know it works, and it provides that learning and fun. But also the summer camps, the workshops, events, festivals. We have a lot of things lined up for the summer, and we're very, very excited. We have a wonderful team in marketing and bookings and customer service. We have Shannon, Sarah, and
to be continued.
Yeah. We're going through interviews this week, so we'll know more next on episode 2.
Yes.
But you have a wonderful team that's really making things happen. So thank you.
It's a pleasure to be part of it. And actually, to go back on you saying that you tried out every toy, I remember we were at an event and we just had a few selections of the toys there. And I remember looking over at Mireia, and she had one of the yellow door story stones in her hand, and she was talking about them, and I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And then she threw it on the floor. Because she was so convinced. She knew herself that it was durable, and you knew that it was never going to break because you've tried it, you've tested it. And I just thought the confidence you had behind that toy was just incredible.
Yeah, I don't want to sell toys that won't last, that will break, that will, every toy that I chose for the shop, I know you can use it in so many different ways. So it's not limited. You buy a jigsaw and that's what you do.
Yes.
But with these toys, it's just an unlimited potential, and it can grow with the child as well. And I don't want a customer ringing me and say, oh, my child dropped a toy and broke.
Yes.
Because that's not what toys are for. So I want to make sure if it breaks, it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not selling it.
Yeah, well, that demonstration really opened my eyes to what I was coming into when I joined the Discovery Playtime team.
You didn't see me smashing the igloo on the floor. It also didn't break.
So when you kind of first started Discovery Playtime, I know it kind of happened, not by accident, but it was just more of a natural progression. Did you know it was going to become what it is now, that there's so many parents and educators, myself when I was a preschool teacher, that I trusted the brand of Discovery Playtime? Did you know that was going to happen?
No way. No, but I have such a passion for what I do that, that gets me through every obstacle. And, at the very beginning of the first few years, I went through big struggles personally as well. And I was like, why am I doing this? What's the point? But then every bit of feedback, every bit of, a picture of a child playing with the toys and the mom saying, oh, thank you so much. I could actually have a warm coffee today for the first time. Or anything, it's just like, or doing workshops. And I remember once in a workshop, a mom came to me and said, I've never seen my child. It was all for children with autism and other needs. And a mom came to me and she said, I've never seen my child laughing ever.
Wow.
So things like that, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
And it gets me through every obstacle. And no, I didn't know where it was going to go. And I'm amazed. And I just take it for granted, I think, when I say, oh, this is, Discovery Playtime, this and that. But when I look back, it's like, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm so, so proud of what it's become.
And you've brought so many people on your journey as well. Like, there's so many people who know Discovery Playtime as such a big community, more than a brand or a shop or summer camps or anything like that.
Exactly. And because I have my mission and my passion, and if I can do it through the shop, it'll be through the shop, but if it's through something else, it'll be through something else. I don't mind, as long as I get that message across. And obviously it wouldn't be here without the whole community that's been supported Discovery Playtime for 6 years now.
Wow. Where the time flies.
Thank you.
And for any of other mums out there that are listening, do you have any advice if any of them are thinking of opening up a business or going back to work even after the children?
First of all, we're looking for staff, so if you're looking for staff, just do what it feels right for you. Don't let anyone put pressure on your decisions. I would say do what feels right for you. If you can afford and want to take 10 years off and stay at home and be a stay-at-home parent, do it. Don't feel like, we're very judgy, I think. We all judge each other a lot on, oh, she's not working. Oh, he's spending time not spending enough time with their kids, so they're not playing outside, or you're all constantly judging each other. And just, I think, if first of all, learn how to work on yourself before you work on your children, because they're going to mirror what you do and who you are.
Yes.
If you try to work on them and try to change them, they're born with their personality already nearly built up. We're here just to support them and guide them, but they already are who they are, regardless of us, their parents, their environment. It's obviously going to have a big impact, but they're going to be whoever they're going to be regardless. So if you work on yourself, you're indirectly working on your children as well at the same time. So take time for yourself. I know we all say that, and I know we all think, oh yeah, I need to take me time or whatever, but honestly, it's just so important, and do it guilt-free, because by working on yourself, on staying calm and doing meditation, and even 10 minutes in the morning, to wake up 10 minutes earlier and do 10 minutes of breathing. Now, I don't do it. But I'm learning because I'm really learning, that mom guilt, or we all have, working on yourself will have a huge impact on your child's development. And that's the first advice. Work on yourself, get better, and be happier, because that impacts your children's happiness as well. And the second thing is, sometimes it can be very overwhelming thinking about going back to work or starting a business, but just break it down into tiny little steps, and take one step every day, because one small step every day will get you a lot further than being overwhelmed and trying to take a massive step one day and never taking that step.
Yes.
So one thing every day, even one day you come up with a business name, and then the next day you write it down, and then the following day you tell a friend, and it's just small steps will really get you somewhere.
Yeah, I think that really comes into work-life balance as well, that although it could be work-life balance, but also I think mom-life balance is a big thing as well. That you're not just a mom all the time, you're your own person too. Yeah,
and it's very important for me. I really want to show my kids that I look after myself, because I want them to look after themselves. And I know my daughter is a people pleaser, and she would do anything that others want her to do to make them happy, and that's great, but I want her to prioritize herself as well, and I can only teach her that by doing it myself.
Yes.
And the other day she came to me and she said, "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to have a job that and she came to me the other day and she said, "Mommy, when I grow up, I want to have a job like yours." And I said, "Oh, what's a job like mine?" And she said, "I love a job that you love."
Wow.
So, I've been feeling so guilty for having all the calls and bring them up and down all the time. But when she said that, I realized how much she's actually learning just by watching me.
Yeah. And you don't realize as well.
Yeah, totally.
It's incredible. And also now with the podcast, since it's kind of a new thing coming out of Discovery Playtime, what is your mission with this podcast?
I just want to share information with a lot of people. I'm a very curious person, and I think being curious is the only way you're going to learn in any area of life. And I'm just so excited to share that curiosity with the world, and having this available for other people, because I love asking questions and meeting new people and wondering what they do and why they do it, and sharing their stories. And I think it's just really interesting.
Yeah. So
that's all I want to do. Just by offering information, I think we can make better choices as parents, because the more information we have, the better our choices will be. Obviously we want the best for our children, so just having that information will really help. So that's all I want. It's just offering those possibilities that the environment offers us on a daily basis, that we can keep things simple. I think keeping things simple is key.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It was really nice to see the insight of the powerhouse that started Discovery Playtime.
Thank you so much, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Yay. Just before we go, if you have a child starting school in September, we have a quick tip for you. Your local library has an initiative called My Little Library Book Bag, where your child can avail of 3 new picture books to support their transition into school. It also includes a story card which outlines the benefits of joining your local library. Be sure to check it out.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to share your own story on our podcast, please get in touch through our social media. Don't forget to like, share and follow so you'll never miss out on upcoming episodes. See you next time!